This is a sound similar to what we would classify as living the dream. So in this, we meet Lila, who's standing in the center of her office, an open space surrounded by floor to ceiling glass windows where everyone can see her and she can see everyone else. She's the type of woman who has these sharp eyes. Some might even say she has this intimidating demeanor about her. But this is what makes her so powerful because she's also a leader in every sense. Lila is respected, admired, and often envied. She's kind of known for her reputation to handle pressure without breaking a sweat, always one step ahead in decision making. And for being just 28, she has already become the face of her industry, an expert in strategic communication, and a rising star, shall I say, in her field. No pun intended. When Lila speaks, people listen. When Lila leads, they follow without question. This is basically her world, and everyone else is just living in it. Her coworkers admire her unshakable confidence and her sharp ability to read any room that she walks into. She kind of knows how to sense the energy of the moment before anyone else can even articulate it. It's as if Lila has this innate ability to anticipate people's emotions, kind of feel the pulse of the room or the direction a conversation will take before it even starts. This may be seen as an advantage, but it can also be a curse considering the weight of feeling the emotions of others on a deep level constantly. With all of this power and influence, Lila feels this growing tension within her soul, a feeling that she's learned to ignore, but one that kind of continues to linger. So back in her office, she hears her phone ring and looks down and sees a message from her partner. The message says that he is so excited to see her tonight. So she looks down at the message for a moment and a half, and she kind of locks her phone and just puts it in her desk drawer and forgets about it. She smiles for a second and goes back to work. So Lila is the type to push things aside. She's learned to push things aside like this mentally, her partner, her friends, her family. And this is kind of how she is programmed. She has this thing where she needs to get things done. Work always has to come first. But they'll understand because she's too busy to focus on anything other than work. At least that's what she tells herself. The way Lila grew up was in this competitive environment where nothing short of perfection was acceptable. She was raised by a single mother who worked a lot to provide for her and her siblings. And Lila was taught early on that success comes with sacrifice. So, her mother's love was always present, but it was always intertwined with these expectations. She needed to get A's in school. She had to win at sports, excel in everything that she did. And her mother always told her, Lila, you're capable of greatness. Just don't let anyone or anything distract you from your path. So these words stuck with Lila, and as she grew older, they shaped her approach to life. She was taught to value productivity, perfection, and progress, but not emotional connection. The narrative that she internalized is very clear. Love and relationships can wait, and success is the only true measure of self-worth. It makes you wonder, do you know someone like Lila, or are you a Lila yourself? So now we have Lila, who is standing at the top of her career. She is basically the boss, and she continues to feel the weight of her mother's words every single day. At work, she's become the go-to person for leadership in high-stakes situations. Whether it's managing a crisis, organizing an event, or negotiating these deals, Lila always rises to the occasion. She thrives in chaos, and she's kind of learned that she needs chaos to feel like she's in control of something. But the success that has defined her professional life is starting to feel hollow, like empty. There's nothing there. Despite all of her accolades, despite the praise, Lila knows something is missing. And she feels it the most when she's in those quiet moments, when she's alone in the space between deadlines, meetings, and even when she goes home at night. So it's starting to look like there's a void in her life that she just can't ignore anymore. So later that evening, Lila goes back home, and the car ride was just this silence of her thoughts and everything that's been going on in her mind. She knows that the people around her are starting to get frustrated with her absence, but she can't do anything because this is for them. Even though she's talked to her friends and family about this, every time Lila just keeps brushing it off, telling herself that they'll understand. After all, she's doing all of this to take care of them, to make sure everyone is good so that they don't have to worry about anything. But deep down, she's starting to realize that this way of coping isn't really helping her anymore. So when she gets home, she is greeted by the silence of an empty apartment. Later that night, Lila's mind just starts to race. She's replaying every conversation she's had with her partner, every event she's missed with her friends, and every moment that she's let slip by in the pursuit of her career. So Lila is starting to realize that her fear of vulnerability is starting to catch up to her. She has this fear of letting someone in and disrupting this carefully constructed life that she's made for herself, which has just kept her emotionally distant from everyone. Deep down, she has this feeling of unworthiness of love, and she's convinced herself that her worth is tied to her ability to achieve, to deliver, and to succeed. So Lila's thoughts are starting to get louder and louder, and it's grown from this quiet voice of doubt to a frantic collection of all the lessons she's absorbed over the years. Don't let your guard down. Don't need anyone. Don't let anything get in the way of your ambitions. But she can't silence this voice in her head anymore. A deeper connection is needed. She needs fulfillment that comes from not titles, but from human connection, from being seen and understood. As exhausted as she is from work, she quickly falls asleep the moment she arrives to her bedroom. So the next day, she's starting to feel the pressure from everything just getting stronger and stronger, and she just doesn't know what to do anymore. Lila is handling multiple projects at once, and the weight of all this responsibility is just becoming consuming. But even as she navigates all of this chaos, there's this realization that her emotional walls are starting to crack. The growing tension with her friends, the distant communication with her family, they all echo in her mind. During a meeting, Lila's mind starts to wander, thinking about last night and how bad she feels for coming home late and missing yet another dinner with her partner. She hates how bad she makes him feel and how often she lets everyone around her down. She's very aware of the emotions and how she affects everyone else. That's one thing about Lila that she's really good at, and she's really good at analyzing how people feel. So she gets a notification on her phone, and this kind of just snaps her back into reality. So she glances down, and it's a message from her mom. It says, "How was your birthday dinner last night? All your friends were so excited to surprise you." So Lila looks down at the message and she freezes, and she's questioning herself. She's like, birthday? And she quickly checks the date, and she remembers that today is her birthday. She forgot her birthday. And it's not that she forgot to celebrate, but she forgot that it's her day, the day that she was born. And she realizes that she's been so consumed with work, with meeting deadlines, with constantly being on top of everything for everyone else's sake, her coworkers, her friends, her family, that she's completely disassociated from herself. She hasn't even taken a moment to acknowledge the one day that's supposed to be about her. So Lila is still frozen, looking at her phone, speechless. She's not the type to even want a big celebration or party. She never has, but it's the fact that she let such an important day, her day, slip by so unnoticed that feels jarring. It's as if she's been living in the rush of other people's lives, losing track of her own. So she gets this sinking feeling in her chest, and for the first time in a long time, Lila feels truly lost. So here she is, drifting through the motions, unaware of the significance of the moment. And this is a painful realization. She spent so much time chasing external achievements, making sure everyone else is taken care of, that she's completely neglected the one person she needs to nurture the most, herself. All of these walls that she's built over the years emotionally are starting to break down and collapse. Being this strong leader of a woman has been a battle and a curse that she's now realizing she's going to have to face in order to get past it. Lila knows that she has to change. She can't keep running on autopilot, missing out on the moments that truly matter. She needs to find a way to reconnect with herself, to remember that she's important too. Because in the end, the greatest gift she can give people she loves and the work that she does is to take care of her own heart. So Lila's mind is still racing as she's getting through the day. She honestly just feels emotionally drained. But as she faces this breaking point, a new realization takes root. Her strength doesn't come from how much she can endure or how many people she can keep at arm's length. The true strength lies in her ability to be vulnerable, to trust, to be open with herself and connections without fear. But for Lila, this is the hardest lesson to learn. She's always believed that vulnerability is weakness, that if she exposes too much of herself, she'll risk losing control. But maybe that's the point. That evening, after another emotionally draining day, Lila sits alone in her apartment, reflecting on the moments she's missed, family gatherings, vacations, anniversaries, and this yearning for fulfillment and true happiness is suddenly becoming crystal clear. She's now sitting in her apartment, and Lila begins to open her heart in a way that she never has before. She's been so busy building these walls to protect herself that she's forgotten how to enjoy the simpler, more meaningful things in life. She has everything she thought she ever wanted, but it turns out it's not what she truly needs. And Lila realizes that the next step in her journey is finally allowing herself to experience love, joy, and connection in a real, unguarded way. So, how ironic is it? Someone who's able to read the room and the emotions of others, but yet is unable to read their own. But this isn't the end of Lila's story, because her journey of rediscovery has only just begun. So I ask you once more, do you know a Lila in your life? Or perhaps are you a Lila yourself? Thank you for listening.